is, whoa, my camera is way off. Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything, and I am coming back at you with another Wargaming Wednesday live stream. Let me get this camera squared away. I think it's... I'm trying... Oh, no wonder. Okay, let's... Right. That should be better. I'm going to be working over here. I'm still on camera. Let's move that over just a little bit. Yeah, okay. How's everybody doing today? I see we got some people on stream. Hopefully you can hear me. I've made some adjustments with my sound system. Hopefully it sounds better. You might hear the laundry going off. It's right through that wall right there, and it might be making some noise. Okay, so over the last couple of days, I've been working on these German figures, and I'll kind of show them off to you and everything as I get ready to work on them. I still need to put some flock on them. I've already put the texture paste on the bases. I did that this morning. Hopefully it's dry. I think it is. I mean, this is the last piece that I did, and I think that's dry enough to put the texture paste, even though that looks like it's a little wet right there. I'm going to give that a little, that's going to be the last one I do, and it'll probably be dry by the time we get around to it. If I get these all based, then we will get up and we will go over to the table where I have the tiles laid out in a way where my river is, the river actually goes over 3 of the different tiles for my 15mm project that I'm working on. Hey, Charles. Oh, thanks, appreciate that. And made a few changes on the tiles. The asphalt, for one thing. I used the AK interactive texture paste for the asphalt. That came out jet black. It came out jet black, which that's understandable. Asphalt's jet black, but I didn't want it to be black. I wanted it to be gray. I wanted it to be weathered. Not concrete, but like weathered asphalt. And so I wanted it to be kind of a black gray or a dark German gray or just gray in general. And so I considered doing like a dry brush on top of it. And then I just said, F it. I already have this asphalt paper that I have. I've got like 50 inches by 30 inches, like a big mat of it that I used on the original tiles. I said, you know what, I'll just cut it out and lay it on top of the asphalt texture paste, glue it down, and it looks really good. I mean, it's awesome. I don't have any problem with it. Okay, but there's a couple of things I wanted to go over today before I started working on this, because it'll give them just a little bit extra time to dry. There's something on my screen here. As you know, I have an eBay channel, or I should say an eBay store, that I sell miniatures like this. These all right here that I'm painting are, every one of these is going on eBay, just letting you know. I'm painting, I provide a painting service. I have people commissioning me to do paint jobs for them, but in between that, I paint for the store for my own, like, random, what do I feel like painting kind of stuff, and then I just put it on the store. But then the other time, I paint for myself, for my own personal armies or whatever, and currently I'm painting 15mm for myself. These 28s are all going to go up on the store for sale for bolt action and stuff like that. every now and then you're going to see me drink. I've got some coffee in here. We'll talk about these here in just a bit, but basically I did a German veteran Grenadier squad. I did a Voltigeur or Volksgrenadier squad, and I did 2 Panzer Lehr squads, and I also did a offensive miniatures Grenadier squad, as well as a machine gun team, a sniper team, a mortar team, and this anti-tank gun team from the Grenadier starter army, right? Which I still have the Puma and the Stug that came in that set. I'll be doing those later. And I also have the plastics. These are all metal. I'm weird. I actually prefer to do metal models. One reason why I prefer to do metal models, you don't have to assemble them, right? You just get them. Sometimes you got to put an arm, like this, one of these machine gunners, you had to glue the arm on. But other than that, and plus like the anti-tank gun, you got to assemble that, of course. And the mortar and the machine gun. But in general, it's a lot faster to clean and prepare and then get ready for priming with the metal than it is with the plastic. Because the plastic, you got to glue the left arm on, the right arm on. Sometimes you have to glue the weapons on, the backpacks, the heads, all that stuff you got to glue together. Well, okay, let me back up. I think 2 or 3 of these squads, probably the Volksgrenadiers and the Grenadiers, I had to glue their heads on, but no big deal. I'm not sweating it. They're beautiful models. They're all Warlord except for the offensive miniatures. I spent last 3 days painting these guys, which is probably about 50 miniatures. Well, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, plus all the, okay, actually it's 60 miniatures if you count the mortar, no, 62 if the sniper team. Okay, either way, I spent like 3 days painting these, but it wouldn't have taken me that long. But what I did was I filmed the entire process. I recorded each color on each squad. So like the German veteran squad, I showed like field gray. Then I went to Volksgrenadiers, showed field gray. Then I went to the Panzer Lehr squad, showed field gray. Then I went to the anti-tank gun, showed field gray. So basically, when I painted field gray on all of these, I just broke it down into 4 videos. And then I went back and said, okay, boots, this, 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 and this. And then I did, gaiters for this, 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 and this. Then, ammo cans for this, 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 and this. Basically, I have probably 20 videos. They're all short and they're all individual. So what I need to do now is, since they're pretty much finished, except for the final video, which is of them being completed with basing and everything, I'm going to take each of those videos, split them into the appropriate unit that I painted. Like, let's say the Panzer Lehr squad. I'll make sure that I do, because I'm going to do a video for each of these squads. I'm going to do a Panzer Lehr video, how I painted them. I'm going to do a Volksgrenadier video on how I painted them, and a veteran Grenadier. They're the ones with all the camouflage smocks and stuff. I'm going to do a video. So basically, it's going to take me a few days to do some editing of all that. But I could have painted these a lot faster if I didn't record it at the same time. But that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying, look for those videos that will be coming out. I'm not going to say soon, and they're probably not going to be coming out back to back. Like each week, I'll probably have another video. I'll probably finish editing them. This is just a little inside baseball. Hey Charles, let me read that in just a second. I'm going to probably record. Well, I've already recorded them. I'm probably going to edit them, and I'm probably going to render them all within the same day or two. And so then I'll have all 4 videos, because I only filmed 4 videos, or recorded 4 videos. The offensive miniature ones, I didn't record painting, because they're basically just Grenadiers, just like all the other Grenadiers. So I recorded 4 videos, and I'll probably, just because of interest for the channel, I'll probably release them like every 3 or 4 days, a video, instead of just putting them all out at one time. There's 2 philosophies. There's a philosophy that you just put the video out, and whoever's looking for it's going to find it. And that way you have the maximum chance to get hits on that video, because it's out for the longest amount of time. Then the other philosophy is the one I'm leaning on right now, is that your videos, if they come out in a consistent manner, people will come back to your channel to watch those videos, and you'll get more repeat customers coming to your channel. Not that I'm selling anything on my channel, because I'm not, but it'll just get people to, come back to the channel. So I'll probably do it I was thinking like once a week, like just like this video that I do on Wednesdays. I do it every week. I could do it periodically through the week. I've even considered like turning the camera on when I'm doing certain works, but I have to hold myself back and say, no, wait for Wednesday. That way people can put it on their calendar, or, they can schedule their day around it, or they can know when I'm going to release a video, so they just go to my channel, turn it on, and watch. Because I watch a lot of other shows, and I know when they're going live, and I will go to their channel and turn it on. And when they don't go live, or if they skip a day or something like that, it affects me. So I know it would affect other people. I don't know. Maybe I don't affect other people. I don't know, because I don't get a whole lot of views on these. 200 or 300 views is a good day. I've got almost 10,000 subscribers, but I don't think all of them are active. I think maybe 6,000 maybe are active. The other ones are probably, used to be active and now they're not. You know how people are. Okay, now I have some news on my screen that I want to share with everybody, and it is related to this. It's basically Warlord Games. I've got some news from Warlord Games that's going to affect me, which I'm going to turn around and have to affect other people, specifically on my eBay store. And that's why I wanted to share it with everybody. I'll probably have to put a newsletter out on my eBay store just to let people know that this will be affecting them. But Charles, what did you just say? Yes, metal is good. Maybe prejudice from my D&D. Yeah. Really getting deep in minis and starting. Okay, yeah. Yeah, like the old Grenadier, Ralparth miniatures back in the day. Reaper miniatures used to be metal. Now they're this bones crap that I don't like. I don't mind the resin, like the Warlord resin and the like Flames of War have these resin plastic models. I think those are good. I really like what do they call it? SPQR. A lot of their ancient stuff now is that resin, Warlord resin. I think that's great. But that soft plastic from Reaper, I don't like. I just don't like it. Okay, so let's talk about this. Warlord has sent me an email telling me that the new Italians are coming out and they want me to pre-release them or pre-order them, right? Okay. Well, I'm not going to do that. Oh, here, let me just put it on the screen so you can see what I'm talking about. Hang on. Okay, so they got these pre-order now. This is for me. This is a store because I'm considered a retailer for Warlord games. They send me you know what? Let's see if I can fix this a little bit. Yeah, that works. That works. Not much bigger, but hey, it's a little bit. They sent me these emails telling me, hey, we got this pre-release coming out. Why don't you order it? Well, I'm just FYI, just letting you guys know, I'm not pre-release. I'm not pre-ordering these. I might order, like, if they come as squads, like this one, the 10 metal miniatures or the 9 metal miniatures here, or these look like they would come in those small, like these, like this Panzer Lehr squad, right? It came in a box of 10 miniatures, and I've had this on my shelf for a couple of months, and I decided, it's time for me to paint it. But I might get those in and put them on my shelf, but I'm not going to break them out and paint them. And I consider myself more of a painting service and less of a store for, retail. I do have their models on retail at my store, but that's not really what I am. When I order from any company, Offensive, Victrix, Front Rank, which is now Gripping Beast, or Old Glory or whatever. I'm not ordering for direct to eBay. What I'm ordering for is something to put in my queue to paint so that I can put it on my store as a painted model. So I do have a bunch of models that I order that I have on back order, back queue, like these guys I've had for a few months now. And while they were sitting in my box waiting to be painted, yes, I had them on eBay. So you could have, went to eBay, said, hey, look at that. He's got a box of Panzer Lehr. Let's go ahead and just order it. And you could have ordered it. And I would have shipped it to you. That wouldn't have been a problem, because that would have been no skin off my back to ship it out to you. But that wasn't why I bought them. I bought them so that I knew I was going to paint them. And I'm going to say, I do not plan to paint any Italians. Zero. Now, if somebody does a special order or a request for me to paint some Italians, I'll paint some Italians. But that wasn't the plan. So, and they're on pre-order right now. The new Italians are on pre-order, but I don't plan to pre-order them. I might order them once they've come out, but I just had a bad experience pre-ordering from Warlord. It's not, it wasn't wasn't earth-shattering, but it was, let's just say, disconcerting, right? I expected one thing, I didn't get what I expected, but I was happy I didn't get it. Okay, if that makes sense. So just to give you a little backstory, I mean, we got a couple hours today, and I don't really want to start getting on this until I can recognize that they're fully dry. But, and while I'm talking about what I'm talking about on the screen, I don't want to be touching these. I ordered the Mega Bundle. Okay, this is a very expensive bundle. Okay, I'm talking very, 4 digits expensive Mega Bundle of Epic Waterloo, right? I said to myself, I'm excited about this Epic Waterloo, because I was super excited, and I still am. I'm excited about it. And then I said, I'm ordering it. Boom. And I said, you know what? How many boxes do I want personally? I want this many boxes. And I was like, okay. But I also want a bunch to paint for the store or to sell on the store. So I said, okay, so I'm going to need this many boxes. And I said, you know what? It would be just better overall to get the Mega Bundle, right? I said, some of it will be mine, but most of it will go to the store. And then I'll make my money back or whatever. And I said, okay, this is great. Let's do it. Boom. And so before I really thought about it, I mean, I did. I thought about it for a few days, crunching numbers, counting figures and stuff like that. And then, boom, I put the order in. And that was a couple of months before it was to be released, right? And then over those 2 months, I kind of realized, because I now see YouTubers with sprues of these models, and then they did reviews on those models, and they look great. I think they're awesome looking models. But then I came to the understanding that they are a unique scale. They're not 15 millimeters and they're not 10 millimeters. They're in the middle. And I was like, okay, I don't really care, because 10 millimeters is kind of small and 15 millimeters is okay. So if they're just a little bit smaller than 15s, no big deal, right? If they look good. And they do. They look great. And then I got to thinking, okay, they don't have this army, or they don't have this army, or this army, or this army, or this army. I started to realize that it was super limited on what armies they had available. John Stollard even got out there and said, hey, we're not going to make these models because you can just use these models to represent these models. And that turned me away, because, first of all, you can't do Brunswick. Can't do it. Nassau, they say, just take French and paint them green. No, the Nassau and the French uniforms are very similar, but there are differences. They said, what about your the light Hanoverians, right? Just use your 95th rifles. The uniforms are similar, but they're not the same. And the Shakos are similar, but they're not the same. I understand that you're cutting corners and you're trying to get, you're allowing or giving ideas or suggestions on which figures to use on which, but that's not why I play historical miniatures. I don't play historical miniatures, and you might find, a lot of you might find this shocking, that I'm a weirdo. I don't care about, let me rephrase that. Let me back up a little bit, because I do care. I was going to say, I don't care about the game mechanics. But that's not true. I do care about the game mechanics. But what I care about more is accuracy and looks. And I'm not going to take a French unit and paint him with like a pink jacket or something. That's or have like metallic gold shakos or something. I'm not going to go Warhammer 40K with my historicals. It's just not going to happen. I want it to be accurate. Now, I don't want to be a Nazi, okay? I don't want to say he's supposed to have square buttons and I'm seeing round buttons. I don't want to get that bad, but if he's supposed to have cross straps and he only has one strap, that's a big deal. Now, I could get in there and try to cut a second strap, or I could put some putty on there, but I'm not that good at doing that, so I'm not going to do that. So I said to myself, well, if they're 13s, will 15 millimeter models match up with them? Or will 10 millimeter models match up with them? So I got a bunch of 10 millimeter models. I got some 15 millimeter models. And then I said to myself, why am I trying to shoehorn this Epic Waterloo miniatures into my game, right? I said, why am I doing this? Because they're cheaper? Because they look better? No. And then I said, yeah, probably they're cheaper per figure. And I said, that's originally why I got excited about them. But then I started analyzing, I know I'm getting off topic, but I analyzed the base sizes. 20 millimeters in depth and then 60 millimeters in width is pretty wide. It's not deep, of course. That's normal depth of a base, but 60 millimeters wide. And then if I was to take 4 bases, that is the exact same width as the 28 millimeter battalions. Exact same width. So me with my 9-foot table wide, right? And then, well, 5 foot wide and 9 foot long, but it's the width of the battlefield would be 9 feet. I save exactly no inches by going to a smaller scale. Why don't I just stay with 28s? But the reason why I don't stay with 28s is because I wanted to do a larger battle with more maneuverability, and I thought Epic was going to let me do that. It doesn't. What Epic, and I've come to the understanding that their definition of Epic is not smaller scale, okay, not a smaller footprint on the table, but more figures in the same footprint. So it looks like there's a ton of figures in that battle, in that battalion or whatever, which there would be. That's not what I wanted. I wanted a smaller footprint. So I decided to just switch to 15 millimeters. I said, fuck it, I'm just going to go 15 millimeters. That's what I used to play. That's what I'm going to play. Switch. And so I started selling my 28s. If you're interested, my 28s are on eBay, right? Almost all my French are gone. I think I got 1 or 2 French battalions left, maybe 1 or 2. I do have 2 French cavalry units left, but everything else is almost all Allied. I just sent a Nassau unit out today. Okay, so okay, so I didn't get, this is back to be the pre-orders, right? So I never did get the order in. But in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm going to return it. I'm going to cancel my order. I'm going to do whatever. So 2 days ago, this is March now. March 18th or something like that is when I sent the email. And I was supposed to get my pre-order in the middle of February. And it's a month later and I've not gotten my pre-order. And I'm thinking to myself, as a store that ordered the mega bundle, I would have thought I would have been the first person, or at least on the first, group to get their models in, so that when the release date was, I would have the models in my store available to be sold. I never got them. I'm seeing all these other stores get their packages, get their models in. I'm seeing all these other YouTubers making what do you call them? Open boxings or reviews of the rules or the models and all that stuff. So I completely lost out on FOMO, right? I didn't get any of the initial impact of this game's out. I'm hearing movement around. I don't know if it's inside or out. But, so I didn't get it. So I contacted him on the 18th and I said, just cancel my order. And he contacted me back. My representative contacted me back and said, wow, we haven't shipped your order out yet. I don't know how this was overlooked or why it was overlooked, but I went ahead and canceled your order. And I'm like, okay. So it's good because I wasn't going to do anything with it anyway. I was happy for the order to be canceled. So that, back to the Italians, that put a little taste in my mouth. There's other box sets that are coming out, the Midway Air Battles game, the Fantasy Slain game, and all these other games they even got this board game they're coming out with. I don't plan to pre-order anything. When it comes out, I'm gonna order it, or not. It's just gonna save me the headache of dealing with that. But I am planning on putting an order in soon, and let me tell you why. Okay, so hopefully you can see my mouse pointer on the screen. You see this word right there? Okay. They sent me an email. This is it, with the Italians, but then they snuck in at the very bottom that they're planning on raising their prices. I don't fault them for raising their prices. Can I do this? Let's see something. Oh, look at that, I can. Okay, I don't fault them for raising their prices. Transportation costs are going up. Material costs are going up. Everybody knows that there's a lot going on in the world right now that is causing disruptions in the commerce, right? Okay. So I don't have any problem with them doing this. If there is a need, right? And they're telling me that their plastic sets, their starter sets and starter armies are going up in price on an average of about 6%. So if their starter army was $100, it's now going to be $106. Okay, that's not too bad, right? That's, get over that. That's okay. That's less than my taxes. Okay, now hybrid products, which is pretty much every product they have, even the German Grenadier box, even though it is a starter army, it's still a hybrid right? Because it has plastic tanks and metal anti-tank guns, right? So it's got metal mortars, metal machine guns. So it's got a metal and plastic combination. So is it going to fall into this category or is it going to fall into this category? My guess is it's going to fall into this category. And that means there's going to be a 16% price increase, which means that starter box, which is normally $100, is going to jump to $116 on average. And then metal sets, like these Panzer Lehr guys, okay, this is a metal set, or their SPQR resin sets. They call them resin, but really they're Warlord resin, right? 25%. That's a quarter. That's a quarter of the price. So if it was, I don't know, if this box was $50, it's now going to be, what is that? Not half of 50 is 25, but like $12 more. So this would be like $63. That's crazy high, right? So, but those prices don't change until Monday, right? April 4th. So I'm planning on putting an order in before April 1st. Okay, just letting you guys know, to take advantage of pre-price increase prices. And I'm gonna get some inventory in, mainly because I'm scared that the prices are going to go up and they're going to be ridiculously high. Okay, how is that going to impact my store? If I'm able to get these models in, I base the prices of my units on the website based on what I paid for them and not the current going rate. So if I have a D&D model, and I'm gonna use the like a giant figure. I noticed that I bought this giant figure back in 2016 for a certain price, right? And now it's 6 years later, right? I'm going to sell it based on that price, not the current price, if it's changed up or down. If it's gone down, I'm still going to base it on the price I paid for it. Sometimes I will sell it for cost. Sometimes I will try not to do that, because if I put effort into painting them, I'm going to charge for that time that I paint them. Okay, so I do plan to place an order. Now this, backed by popular demand, I'm super excited about this. Mainly for this right here, the Jeep with 30 cal machine gun. I'm probably going to order like a dozen of those. Not really, but all 5 of these, I do plan to get these in stock, as hopefully they don't go out of stock right away. But I do plan to get all of these in stock just so that I can put them together, paint them, and get them up on eBay. Okay, so that is back in stock. What do we got? We got American flamethrowers. I don't think I've ever seen this on their website. I've had this set in the past. I painted it up for my Market Garden game that I ran a couple of years back at NashCon. I had all these sets actually. The Panzer Schreck flamethrower and the flamethrower Panzer Schreck. This Waffen SS, this German Heer. Basically the same. You know, these guys might have camouflage smocks and these don't, or whatever. Yeah, I'm going to get all those in. And I'm going to try to do it before the 1st. Okay, let's close down the camera. Bap. There it is. Let's get rid of my email. All right, good to go. All right, let's see if I can swap out my eyeballs. Now, the flock that I plan to use today, I've not used ever. Okay, so this is the first time ever being used on any models of mine. So it's going to be partially an experiment. but also partially it's a test. Basically, it is what's it called? Flower meadow. But basically, it's meadow. It's a scatter and it's not a grass. It's a scatter, but it has reds and yellows in with the light green and some white, it looks like. So it kind of looks like, I don't know if you can see that in the lighting, but I think it looks really good. I think it looks awesome. Awesome. Okay, I got my paintbrush here, which is going to be my glue brush. My Elmer's. And I fill like half the little tubby there, whatever they call it, reservoir. And then I put water in there, also about half. I mean, it should be completely full, right, if I go half and half, but it's never that way. And then using my applicator, which now I bought a bag of these brushes. You get 50 of them for like $1. I'm exaggerating. It was probably $5, but still it was like 50 of them. I thought I was going to use those to paint models. No, the quality is way too low. Well, shit, if it's only like 10 cents each, then what do you expect, right? Okay, you can't expect. What does the saying go? You get what you pay for. Okay, so these models I'm going to take out, and then as I flock them, I'm going to put them back in. How about that? Do you hear that? I don't know. I can hear it. Okay, so with the grass and the mixed glue, I'm not going to put 100% coverage, right? Wow, that's like unbalanced. Okay, so I get a little bit of glue on there. I love me some scatter material. I'm going to tell you this right off the jump. I actually like scatter a lot better than foam flock. Mainly because it's better, you can control it better, and it sticks, what's the word I'm looking for? It covers better. When I use foam flock, it kind of blows away in the wind. You know, if you got a fan going or something, the foam flock flies everywhere, and it soaks in and it disappears, so you don't really get a good coverage with it. It doesn't have a good coverage. Now, static grass, I've got mixed feelings about that. I think static grass looks the best, but it's the hardest to control, and it's worse than foam. So like if you breathe, or if I was talking to you on the camera here, my breath would cause static grass to go flying everywhere. Static grass is originally designed to be used on railroads and not necessarily models like this. And it's designed to be used with a static grass applicator, which provides an electrical charge to the glue. So like if I put this Elmer's glue, I would apply an electrode to the glue, and I would sprinkle the grass from the applicator onto it, and the static electricity charge between the two causes the static grass to stand on end. So it looks great. I don't have time for all that. Now on a railroad, like if I was doing a railroad that I was going to sit in my garage for the rest of time, do it once, do it right, yeah, I'm going to use static grass. On a model, I'm going to sprinkle static grass just like I'm sprinkling this flock, right? This scatter material. And when you sprinkle static grass, you don't get the same stand on end appearance. It kind of lays on the base. So it's kind of a mixed bag, you know, mixed. It still looks really good because you see the hairs and the, so it kind of looks like grass. Okay, this might be, after I do this one squad of Panzer Lehr, I think it might be just a little too light for the effect I'm going for. So I think I'm going to switch up on my scatter material. Go grab a different one. So this whole squad will have the same color. And that's why you experiment, so you know. This might be good for, like I said, a terrain or a battle map. You know, good around buildings. It looks really good. I like it, but it just looks a little too light. I want it to be just a little darker. Now you'll also might notice, I'll show you on my last one. These are Warlord miniatures, and Warlord miniatures comes with plastic bases, you know, like these guys, but 1 inch, right? So they come with 1 inch plastic bases. This is a metal model, and I usually don't put metal models on plastic bases. I put them on 1 inch fender washers. And there's a couple of reasons why I do that. One of them is it adds more weight to the bottom of the figure so that you get like a low center of balance, so you can put this model on terrain that's not even and it won't tip over. Also, if you wanted to, you could put a magnet in your carrying case and you put it down and boom, the metal will just stick to the magnet. So it wouldn't slide around or anything like that. Okay, well, that's not dry yet. I'm gonna let it dry, and then I'll shake off the excess back into this container. So I'm going to set that off to the side. Now I'm going to go get a different flock. I'm looking at a bunch of different ones, trying to decide. I don't know how many different flocks do I have, like 15? Okay, there's bush, micro scatter. Okay, that's like a residue scatter. So many different flocks. All right, one more. You have to dig it out. Actually, I got a couple of different ones in here, don't I? Okay, I got a bunch of different ones. I'm going to use, some of them are static. Okay, this guy right here, this is scatter that I collected up from making terrain, and it's basically just a bunch of pieces, like leftovers. Okay, this is flowery. I don't think I want to use this one. I decided against this one. I don't know where to put it. Okay, just put it right there. I'm definitely going to use this. You notice how it's also light, just like that other one, but it's not light and yellow or whatever. I'm going to put this on these guys to start. Okay. All right, let's see. Is that going to be enough? maybe not. Let's go ahead and add it. I'm going to need to do a bunch of others, so. Now, I had some other flock in there that I really like. There's this one scatter that I have that's really old. It's probably 10 years old. It was from Games Workshop. It's very fine. I really like it, but I hold on to it and I never use it because I'm saving it for the perfect model, you know, or saving it for the perfect army. I know it's crazy. I should just go ahead and use it. Yeah, see, that looks, to me, that looks a lot better than that. I don't know, this just doesn't look as good as that one. I don't know, it's just me, I'm weird. It still looks good though. This one just looks better, and you would think it would look the same, but the green is just, oh, it's just a little bit different. And I prefer to use a lot of railroading flock when it comes to flock, and not military modeling or hobby. Let me rephrase that. Wargaming flock. Wargaming flock tends to be twice as expensive and not as good. Railroading flock, man, I just bought that. You know, you can buy like a gallon of it for next to nothing. And micro scatter, that's what this is. Awesome. Scatter is okay, but micro scatter is where it's at, man. Good coverage. You can control it. It doesn't fly away. Sticks to where you put the glue. It's good. So what do we got? Oh, we got a new chat. Okay, let me jump into the chat real quick and see what you have to say. It's gold dust. Thanks, man. I appreciate you. Are you planning on going to NashCon this year? If so, I already have a room. My wife bought me a weekend at the hotel. I think she's trying to get rid of me. No, but she's already bought me a weekend at the hotel, so it's a room for two. And I don't know if Alex is going to go with me. Probably not. He's not really into historical miniatures. There are fantasy games there. I mean, you know, there's like Star Wars miniatures and all kinds of stuff, but I don't think it's really his bag. But what I'm trying to say is, if you decide to go, I got a room. Okay, these that I'm doing right here, these are the offensive miniatures. they make some really good models. I'm going to have to say they've got a lot of good detail on their figures, and their poses are different than what you see from other, like Warlord or whatever. Okay, that looks good. I'm gonna have to do a little more with that. Maybe this mortar. Now, I don't do 100% coverage, as you know. I basically leave gaps. Also, when I'm looking at the flex paste, when I'm looking at the texture paste, if it didn't cover a specific portion of the model or whatever, the base, or if there's some gaps, I'll slap some glue in there and drop some grass. And it'll cover that up. Okay. Yeah, I can see I'm going to have to shake that off. Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. I'm going to have to shake it off. Okay. Machine gun maybe? I don't want to do too much with this color because I want to do this other color and this as well. I'm probably going to do the anti-tank gun with that. I'm not going to do the rest in this. Okay. Whoops. I'll do A squad. Well, that's the snipers. Okay. Snipers can be in this too, but I think I'm going to put the sniper in something else. So we'll put the sniper team over there because it'll be something else. All right, got to mix that up. I don't know if we're going to get a chance. What time is it? It's only 12 o'clock. Okay. We might get a chance to show you a little bit about the tiles as well, because I think I'll be able to get these flocked in a few minutes. But I made my own bridge, right, for my tiles, for my lehr bridge scenario that I'm planning on running. Oh, yeah. Speaking of lehr bridge, we're going to get into that here in just a second. But I just remembered something else I wanted to tell you. I built my own bridge. It wasn't hard. I used some plywood and some foam for walls, and I just cut out the texture of the bricks and painted it, and looks good. It looks better than good. It looks awesome. But it was fragile. The foam was moving around because I probably cut too much on both sides, and if I cut too much on both sides, I might have cut all the way through on some of it. I don't think so, but it got close, and it probably just made it very fragile. And so I went over it with Mod Podge, And I didn't use the old Mod Podge. I used the what they call the durable one, or the rigid one, or the super hard, or whatever it's called. It's in like the purple bottle. On the bottle, it says it takes 4 days for it to cure or to dry. It says 4 days. Okay, but after about 1 day, I noticed it was dry to the touch. Probably hasn't dried completely, or it probably hasn't, hardened up, but it was freaking hard as a rock. And I'm super happy with it. And that was a bunch of days ago, so I'm sure it's dry by now, but I'll show it to you once we get done with these, once we transition over to the terrain tiles. But I wanted to talk about miniatures, right? If you watched my latest update, you saw me talk about Plastic Soldier, you saw me talk about Old Glory, and Battlefront miniatures, right? And I'm going to tell you, out of all those miniatures, Plastic Soldier is probably the least expensive for the number of figures you get, right? You probably get, I'm guessing, about 145 figures. For the same price, you get about 93 figures from Plastic Soldier. Okay? Old Glory, you get like 50 figures. No, you probably, okay, if I was to do the same cost, you get about 250 figures. So they're way better cost-wise. But then when I start looking at the quality, guess what? You get what you pay for. Old Glory figures, they're okay. If you're standing a mile away looking at them, and if they're painted really well, they look good. They are small. They're about 12 millimeters. So they always have been. I even remember back in the day when I played Command Decision, or a game called Battlefront, I knew they were 12 millimeters. And they still are. So they're not really 15s. Plastic Soldier, yes, they're 15s. But the problem is they're true scale. When I say that, I mean their rifles are correct or proportionate. A lot like the offensive miniatures in 28 millimeter. They're exactly the size they're supposed to be, which is good. And then the Battlefront miniatures are chunky, and they're about 18 millimeters. And they're made of resin. And they look great. I mean, whoops. I didn't mean to get into that static rest just yet. I want to get into this. Come on, bitch. Open up. Okay, so my German Grenadiers are Plastic Soldier Company. My American Gliders are Plastic Soldier Company. Remember the middle one. my paratroopers are front rank, and not front rank, battlefront, Flames of War, and they look excellent. They were easy to assemble, easy to paint. Everything was just great about those models. I fell in love with them. Okay, now here comes the clincher. I ordered. Whoa, dude, don't you go flipping on me. I'll be pissed off. Okay. I ordered some American infantry from Battlefront, and I ordered some Grenadiers from Battlefront. I decided I'm just going to go with Battlefront for all my figures, except for ones that I might just be missing, you know, like my medics or my sniper or something like that. I might have to go with an alternative figure line, and I will. I have every figure I need, all the figures, the Grenadiers, the paratroopers, the glider troops, the tanks. I got everything already finished, painted and ready to go. But basically, I'm upgrading my figures to Battlefront figures because I'm just so impressed with them. Okay, that looks really good on those snipers. I like this mix. It's got a little bit of clump foliage. It's got a little bit of, there's a piece of bark. It's got a little bit of everything. Okay. Let's see what we can do about this anti-tank gun. Now, in the past, if you've ever shopped at my store and you've seen me make anti-tank gun models for sale, or when I had anti-tank guns in my scenarios that I ran, I would have the gun on a base, and the base would be big enough for me to put the crew, which had their own bases, on this base, right, on the gun base. So they would just stand on the base, basically making it like the crew were individually mounted and they would fit on the same base. That's normally how I did it. I did not do it that way this time. I put them all on the same base, and there is a reason. I didn't just do it because of flippancy or whatever. There's two figures in this collection, in this crew, that are posed in such a way that they needed to be with the gun. Okay. One of them has a shell in his hand, but it's positioned in a way where he's either loading it into the breech or he's pulling it out of the breech, because the shell is cut off halfway and the guy's hand is in such a position that it lines up with the breech perfectly. That's one of them. The second one is the guy with the rangefinder. He's got one foot up, like he's standing on the gun, like Captain Morgan. And he fits on there perfectly if I put his foot on the one of the legs of the anti-tank gun. I will show you here in just a second what I mean. Okay, this is going to be hard to shake off because that's not a full-size thing. I can shake it off into there and then later shake it off into here, but I think I've got skill, so let's see. I probably don't, but I'm going to have to clean it off again anyway once the glue dries. But this is what I'm talking about. I don't know if you can, I don't know if the focus is going to work very well for you. But this is the, my hand's in the way. This is the rangefinder guy, and you can see his left leg, how it's like it's up on the leg of the gun. And then here's the loader, and you can see his left hand has a shell, and I made it so it looks like he's pushing it into the breech. Okay, well, these are the only two that I wanted to use with this color here, or this randomness. These two are going to be this, I think it's 4mm static grass. There we go. Last but not least, look at that static grass. It is super long. Okay. I don't really know how this is going to work, but here we go. We're going to give it a shot, right? All right, we're going to need more glue. Now, I'm not using a static grass applicator except my Mark I static grass applicator, which is my index finger and my thumb. That's my applicator tool. Okay. Another thing, it'll give me an opportunity on my 15mm guys. It'll give me an opportunity to rebase my mortars for the Germans, because I don't know if the German unit I just ordered comes with mortars or not. If it doesn't, I'll still use the ones I already have painted. But if it does, I'm going to rebase them so that I can so it can be more traditional and not round. Okay, now this is super long static grass, super long. So what I think I want to do, sneeze. Ooh, excuse me. Bless you. What do we got? Nightmare, what'd you say? Save a ton of cash, mix wood glue and just plain old Elmer's glue and a very little water. Yeah. I actually like the fact that their weapons are bigger. The 60mm mortar, I think, is way too big. I mean, it's bulky, like it shouldn't be that big. But okay, this might not go on very well. See, it doesn't want to do the sprinkle thing, and when it does, it gets in its own way. Yeah, I don't think this is going to work. I'm going to have to shrink my static grass to a smaller static grass. I can see it already. Unless I just push it into the glue. This is probably why I don't use this static grass very often. It's because it's too clumpy. It's too big. It interferes with itself. Like when one piece of static grass sticks to the glue, it prevents any other static grass from falling into the glue. So I might force it into the glue with a little bit of good old, what do they call it? Elbow grease. I'm pushing it down into the glue with my finger, kind of cramming it in there. That might be okay, actually. But that's only because it's got a big base like this. On those guys over there, I'm going to have a problem. I'm not going to be able... Maybe I can. Maybe I can. Never mind. Yeah, if I see any white from the Elmers sticking through the static grass, that just tells me I didn't push enough static grass in that area. Okay. I think it will look good once I get it shook off, but we'll see. I have smaller static grass. I think this is 4mm, which is really big. I prefer using 2.5 or even 2mm static grass that I use on my smaller. Now you say mix wood glue and Elmer's. Well, I buy Elmer's by the gallon. I got a gallon jug of Elmer's glue over there, and it's about 2/3 empty. When this gets low, I just refill it from that. This is just my table glue. Yeah, I definitely go with Elmer's because it's cheap. Cheap PVA, and I mix it with water because straight Elmer's is too has too much surface tension, so flock doesn't want to stick to it usually. So you got to water it down so that your flock can soak into the water and Elmer's mixture, and once it dries, it'll be thick. You know, I don't know. That's my philosophy. All right. And a variety of models. Yeah, I mean, that was my idea, was I was just going to use whatever models were available for whatever. You know, not caring. But when I put them side by side and I compared them quality-wise, cost-wise, size-wise, I just fell in love with Battlefront. The resin ones. I used to have Battlefront medals, and I still have a few of those left over from back in the day when I used to play a lot of other games. Yeah. The metal ones were okay, but I really liked their new resin models. They're not new for the world. They're new for me because I got away from 15 millimeters for a long time, and they changed their models while I was away. It's been a few years, but for me, it's all new. I look at these models and I go, oh man, these are really good models. Now, I don't play Flames of War because I feel like Flames of War was more of a Warhammer World War II. You know, it was kind of like the weapons didn't have good ranges, the guys didn't move very far. It just didn't feel like a World War II battle. It felt like Warhammer. So I didn't like Flames of War, but that was first edition. I don't know if they've made changes. I've considered buying Flames of War again, just like a cheap quick start rules or something like that, just to kind of see if it could be used for historical battles and not just tournaments. Because that's another thing. If the game is designed for tournaments, I don't like it. I'm not into point-based, hey, you bring 1,000 points, I'll bring 1,000 points, and we'll play. No, I don't like games like that. I like a game where it's like, hey, I've set up this scenario. It's the Battle of Kursk. Would you want to come and fight it out with me? Sure. What's the scenario? What kind of troops do I have? That's the kind of battle I like. Not, hey, I brought all my tigers. And I brought this flak Verling because, you know, if you're not playing with a flak Verling, then you're asking to lose. No, those aren't the kind of games I like to play. Now, Bolt Action is a tournament game, but it's also a scenario-based game, so it goes both ways. So I'm okay with Bolt Action. And Bolt Action is about it's got a good balance of speed of play, ease of play, and realism. It's not one or the other. It's kind of got a little bit of everything, and I like that. I don't normally press flock into bases. This is a new thing for me. This is kind of a Let's see what it does. I'm not really going to be able to shake this off until it dries because I don't want to lose any static grass that might have had a chance to get stuck in the Elmers. So I'm going to let this static grass dry, you know, at least an hour or two before I shake it off. But I wasn't planning on shaking any of this off on camera anyway, because after I get this flocked, I'm planning on transitioning. Yeah, I still got about 30 minutes. Just to show you. Well, actually, I was going to do the hills with the foam, what do you call it? The texture paste. Go a little bit of that first, and then we'll start pressing. Okay. I don't know, can you hear the wind outside? It sounds like it's going at like 100 miles an hour outside. Yeah, we're not going to go over late today. Like some days we go late just because I'm in the middle of a project or something like that. Today we're not. I've got to go somewhere at 1 o'clock, so we are going to stop at 1 o'clock. If I keep my eyes on the clock. Okay, let's see if I can get some static grass. On these guys. And this is kind of unusual. I found it's kind of just an anecdote. These Grenadier squads come with 2 prone figures. I guess this is Panzer lehr. They come with a machine gunner who's laying on his side, getting a grenade ready to throw, and then the officer or the NCO is you know, laying on his belly, using his hand to wave forward his troops or whatever, to signal his troops with his hand signals. And then the assistant machine gunner, which is the guy carrying the ammo, is actually squatting, doing a kimchi squat with the ammo can in between his legs. You would think, I mean, you would just think this, that the 2 prone guys would be the machine gunner and his assistant gunner. But no. Because when I take the plastic models and I make squads, you know, I normally take the prone models and make them the machine gunners. Usually. Machine gunner firing, and then the guy laying next to him is feeding the ammo. But doesn't have to be that way, right? That's just stereotypical, I guess. Just seems logical to me, because it would be more easy to identify as a player. You can see who the machine gunner is and who his assistant gunner is without a whole lot of, so who's got the ammo, you know, or who's your assistant gunner? I don't know, I'm weird. I'm weird that way. Okay, so those guys are definitely got their static grass like jammed into their bases, but they're not going to stay that way. And that's all the static grass I'm going to do out of this. Just the squad and the machine gunner. And when I shake it off, now when you guys when I upload those videos, like I mentioned early in the video, when I release these painting videos, you'll get a chance to see the results of that static grass being jammed in there. Okay, last one, right? Last squad. The good old Army Painter Grass Green, which is also a scatter. It's not a static grass or a foam flock. It's kind of that sawdust looky thing, scatter. It's a good size for, it's what I used for years for all my models, because I actually honestly prefer scatter over static grass. But super small static grass, like 2mm, I actually like that a lot on the small models. Oh, did I add water? Did I? Oh, let's add some more. Hey, here we go. So I was looking at my battle group rules the other night, and I came upon a rule. Okay, let's preface this by saying I've never played it, okay? I've only watched other people play it, and I've read the rules. Doesn't mean I comprehend the rules. It just means I've seen some other people play it, and I've read the rules. I like what I've read. Okay. But now, I read the rules a couple of days ago. I was just, there was a couple of things I wasn't sure about, or I wanted to verify, I should say. I wanted to double check in my head, you know, weapon ranges because of the map. I changed my map from 6 foot to 8 foot. So I wanted to see how that was going to affect my game. And I came upon this rule. Let me rephrase this. I reread this rule. I knew the rule, but I reread it, and then I was like, no, that can't be right. Let me read that again. I read it again, and I was like, yeah, this is how it's written. And I was like, does that make sense? And I'll get to it. I'm teasing you, aren't I? I said, okay, this doesn't make sense. Or does it? Let me think about this. And I was like, yeah, I guess it does make sense. But it makes a limited amount of sense. Because I can see where someone would go like, that doesn't make sense. So, the rule I'm talking about is the difference between suppressive fire and direct fire. Okay, so if you know the rules, which you might or might not know, and you can expect to see me, once I get my armies painted, I could use the armies I've already got. I could use those. I'm going to make a boot camp explaining all the rules. For one reason is to help me understand the rules, but also to help anybody watching learn the rules. And when I do boot camps, I usually do literal rules interpretations, not like this rule is like this because it would help you do this. No, I don't say that. I say things like, this is the rule and this is how it's used. Like, this is the dice you roll, this is the measurement you make, etc., etc. I don't say this is why, right? Or better yet, I do say this is why, but I don't say this would best be used like this. I try not to do that. First of all, I'm not an expert. And second of all, I might be leading someone down the wrong path or whatever. So, okay, I see how you're going to be, Grass. So I will be doing a boot camp. Soon. Very soon. Within the next month or two, actually, I would say. But I come across this rule. Direct fire is one rule, and suppressive fire is another rule. Okay. Direct fire has a number of steps you have to perform, I guess, in order to determine what the outcome of the direct fire is. That's a no-brainer. Everybody knows that. Like, you choose your unit, you choose the unit you want to shoot at, you roll to see if you can spot them. If you can spot them, you check the range, you find out what range is and what your rate of fire of your weapons are, and you roll the dice, and then he would make any saves from any hits, based on his cover or concealment or infantry or tank or whatever, right? Okay, so direct fire is pretty straightforward, except for the spotting, right? But other than that, it's pretty straightforward. Suppressive fire has only a couple of rules, a couple of steps. One is you nominate the units that are shooting. Okay. You count up their rate of fire. Okay. And you roll the dice. Okay. And you find the outcome. And then your opponent doesn't make any saves. That's not something. And it doesn't matter what the range is. Like, your rifle has, or a machine gun has, like, or a medium machine gun, has like a maximum range of like 30 inches. That only applies to direct fire. Suppressive fire does not care how far you're shooting. So my mind is saying, that's crazy. What if I've got a 10-foot table and I got a guy here, I can shoot all the way on the other side of the table and still cause suppressive fire? That doesn't seem right. Okay, but then is this space glued to my table. It better not be. I might not. Man, I'll be upset if it is. Okay, it's not. It was just stuck. See, I've got these extra bases. Okay. Everything's blocked. We're going to transition. No, I'm not. I'm not even going to bother transitioning. We only got 10 minutes left. Be a waste of time to transition over there and then not do anything. Okay, so here, let me get the word out. Since I'm talking about this, battle group, the rules. Okay. There's line of sight, there's scale, there's measuring distances, blah, 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 examples, the rules, and then the turn order, and then issuing orders and all that stuff, and movement, and then you have open fire, right? Firing basics, you know, they have okay, so I might have missed this here. Okay, it says basic ranges. All weapons have a maximum range summarized here. If the target unit is beyond the maximum range, then it is automatically missed. Okay, well, this is not in either direct fire or suppressive fire. Yeah, firing is dealt with in two different ways with different effects. Got it? The first is suppressing and the second is aimed. Suppressing is less accurate. Aimed fire is shooting at visible, identified. Do not fall into the trap of believing that aim fire is somehow better. Okay, because unpinned, blah, 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 blah. Firing basics, there are two rules. Yep. Okay. Never mind. That answered my question. Okay. So even suppressing fire has to be within range. Even though under suppressing fire, the rule, it says these steps must be followed. None of them say the unit has to be in range. But if you go to direct fire, it says these steps have to be followed. And one of them does say the unit has to be in range. Because they didn't, so I was saying that you could shoot all the way across the map and suppress somebody, and even though that's not the way it is, okay, I was trying to justify it by saying this: how big is my table? My table is 8 feet, right? I got that. But on the real world, how far is it? It's only 1,000 meters. Okay. Can a rifle shoot 1,000 meters? Yes, a rifle can shoot 1,000 meters. How accurate is it? It's horribly inaccurate. Once you get past about 600 meters, you're going to have a very hard time hitting something. And with iron sights, anything over 300 meters might be really hard. So I can see where accurate fire has to be within 30 inches. I get that. But inaccurate fire, I can see should be further. It should be further. Maybe not 1,000 meters. Maybe I should double it. Just house rule, double it. Machine guns should go 1,000 meters with no problem. Right? So I don't necessarily like the 30-inch for a medium machine gun. Heavy machine gun goes 40 inches for direct fire. I think all those ranges should be doubled for suppressive fire. Because if you just want to just lay down bullets into an area just to suppress somebody, I think you should not have to be limited by 30 inches. Because if I was to do my math correctly, let me bring a calculator out real quick before we end the session here. If 12 inches is a foot, and I multiply it by 8 feet, I get 96 inches, right? And if 96 inches is supposed to be approximately 1,000 feet, no, 1,000 meters. Whoops. Oh, crap. This calculator. 1,000 divided by 96 inches. I'm getting about 10 meters per inch. So that's right. 30 inches would be about 300 meters, approximately, on my table. And I think you can suppress further than that. I understand that the table is perfectly flat and the world is not perfectly flat. It's got terrain like this. But that's why it's only suppressing past 30. I'm going to do that. I'm just going to change the rules today. Boom. In my game, you're going to suppress at double range. All right, guys. Thanks for sticking around with me. I have an errand I got to run. It's 3 minutes till, so I might as well just go ahead and let you guys go so I can jump on it. Remember, in the next few days, I'm going to finalize these videos, edit them, upload them. And if you're curious to see what they look like once they're fully flocked, I still have to spray them with a dull coat. But I'll do that when I get home from my errand. And I will see you next Wednesday. If you don't show up, I might do a project update showing off my boards, because I've got all the grass laid out. I got all the fields. You know how I was doing spotty work on the fields? You'll get to see that. I got the river well, not textured, but the banks, the putty is on there. And then I still have to lay some texture. I got the new roads down, and I still need to put together one more. Well, I don't have to put it together. I need to paint a building. Actually, I don't need to paint a building. I got a million other buildings I could use. The bridge, I got to show you that, and then some hedges and stuff that I did. Okay, so I'll catch you in the next one. Or no, I mean you'll see a bunch of videos coming out before next.